Hey, so I only have a couple of minutes because I only ever have a couple of minutes anytime I do these videos. But I really wanted to get this up here. So this is about this few days heading up into this full moon, which the craziness has already started, as well as the Derek Chauvin trial. Jury, now the information I'm finding is that the jury went into deliberation to get a verdict. At 5, they started at 5, they went sequestered for this at 5 p.m. April 19th, 2021. Now, because astrology is time-based, if this is not an accurate time within 4.5 minutes, it's going to significantly alter the information we're receiving from the chart. Now, with this chart at 5 p.m., the ascendant was at 26 Virgo, which is good because what that indicates is that the jury has not made up its mind before they've gone into deliberation, right? We don't want juries that have made up their minds before they've actually had a chance to discuss this and work out, some type of understanding. Of course, the problem is that they haven't made up their mind. So for everybody who's been watching this, how could it be that difficult to make up your mind about something like this, right? Like there's no question about what happened. So there's that. Now, I just want to put out here, I don't typically do legal charts. So this is a bit of speculative. This is a speculative thing that we're doing right now. So take this with a grain of salt. But I thought it was interesting. And it's also a learning tool. So you might want to set the chart up for yourself if you're learning astrology and follow the verdict as this plays out and see how this fits in the chart or doesn't. So the first thing is we've got a good ascendant, 26 Virgo, so it's not too late. They have not made up their mind going into this. So that also indicates that anything goes. We could have any kind of potential outcome here. The moon also is conjunct a powerful fixed star, Procyon, the dog star, which has a lot to do with hot tempers and wealth and fame and things that are much larger than life. So I will let you look that up as well. I'll write it down in the comments below so you can see how it's spelled. So the moon conjunct Procyon elevates the status of this chart or this decision and this process, certainly this case. And this is known, literally people across the globe are also aware of this and watching this. So it's difficult to make this any more visible and larger than life than it already is. But the verdict is very, very important. And will definitely, I'm sure, go down in the history books. So there's that. Now, when we talk about juries or large group of people, whether it's the local PTA, the Girl Scouts, Congress, the town council, anything, you're always looking at the 11th house. So the 11th house is ruled by Cancer. And the 11th house is at 2957 Cancer. So this shows or indicates the possibility, if we're looking at this correctly and we have an accurate time for the deliberation starting, this indicates that there's a possibility that they may lose one of the jurors may get sick, or this could also indicate literally them being this far away from a decision. So this may not take that long for them to deliberate. This may be a very quick decision. Now, the other thing that I would think we would look at, this is all new for me, so bear with me. I'm learning this as we go along too, all right? Would be the 9th house of the chart, which is the justice system and the legal matters. So the 9th house is Taurus, and Venus is in rulership in Taurus, which is promising, right? We like planets in rulership, they're very strong, and Venus is a benefic. So Venus in Taurus, and it's in the 8th, and it's conjunct Uranus. And so Venus in rulership in and of itself, and a benefic, and it's a benefic planet ruling it, suggests that they will stay to the letter of the law, right? So they will play this out to the letter of their law. Venus conjunct Uranus, it's wide, but it's there. It's 4 degrees, but it's still there. Clearly, this is potentially upsetting for some folks. And the thing about this trial, and the reason these things are hard to read, is this is going to be upsetting no matter which side of the courtroom that you're on, right? Whether you're for the prosecution or the defense, either way, somebody's going to be pissed. So there's that. Now, what's interesting about the 9th house ruler right, or of law and legal matters, is Venus is also in, and it's conjunct Uranus, it's also in square to Saturn. So for some reason, this would suggest that there is a real issue in terms of doing what's right, Venus-Saturn, as compared to doing what's controversial, right, Uranus-Saturn, and Venus right there with them. So this will not be an easy choice, and that may be where the urgency or intensity is coming from in the group. So they literally may feel like they're caught between a rock and a hard place at this point. And technicalities will be an issue, as they always are. Now, the bits and pieces that I was hearing, I thought it was interesting that they were throwing around a lot of stuff that were deliberately misleading for the jurors. For example, this whole business about the heart being too big and yada, 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 yada. And the thing about it is there's a lot of not accurately presented medical information to slant bias, obviously, because these are lawyers, these are trial lawyers, so this is what they do. They manipulate sympathies. So I was really, it was not easy to listen to, because we want to believe that our justice system has a lot more integrity, even though we know better. Like, we see it all the time, we know better. Trial lawyers are circus performers. It's not about the integrity and ethics of the law. It's about, who can win the competition, who can win this case. And, they'll do things like, misrepresent information ever so slightly. So to people who they don't know any better, specifically to gain a sympathetic outcome in their favor. Anyway, sorry. Okay. So the only other thing I can say right off the top of the chart is that Mars is at the top of this chart, right? So Mars is off the ascendant by 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 2 or 3 degrees. So I would expect the decision, because Mars cleaves and separates, right? Mars is action taken. And Gemini, dual-bodied sign, it may be a split decision or a compromise. What they think is a compromise that occurs. So I would expect this to happen 19... 20, 21, 22. By Thursday or Friday, we should have a decision. I don't imagine this is going to go much far longer than that. Also, too, Gemini is a very fast sign. Maybe. I don't know. I am hamstrung at this point looking at this chart. Because again, like everything else that has deep, personal, important meaning to me, there's only one outcome that I can see that makes any sense, and anything else is just not acceptable. So I'm really struggling trying to give you an unbiased speculation about how these things will go. But that is what I can say that is not full bias. So, and the other thing too that I thought was interesting is the midhaven on this chart. Again, if we have the exact correct time of birth within 4 minutes, or time for the deliberation starting within 4 minutes, Al-Heka is on the midhaven. And Al-Heka is another really interesting fixed star, and it's, or Al-Hika, it is taking the bull by the horns. How fitting, right? How apropos. So when Mars and the midhaven and that fixed star Al-Heka or Al-Hika come together, literally it will be taking the bull by the horns. So the full moon is not until Monday, but I'm going to go with Thursday or Friday for a verdict. So with that said, be very careful out there with your environment, your surroundings, and plan accordingly. Because if anything kicks off Thursday or Friday, it will go well on into the full moon. This particular full moon is very unstable and very difficult. And if you've noticed, we've been seeing a lot of full moon challenges with multiple shootings and everything else, people losing their ever-loving minds, like at least a week ahead of the full moon. There are no eclipses being activated at this time that I'm aware of. I can double check, but I don't remember any eclipses being activated. It's just this particular full moon and the planets it's bringing in are really setting people off. And we're not even to the full moon yet. So for the next few days, be kind to each other, be safe, be careful. And steer very clear of unstable people and be very aware of your surroundings. Not because everybody out there is a bad person, but it only takes one bad person to ruin your day or your life, as the case may be. So here's to justice in the George Floyd case, and we'll see what happens.